Hey everybody, Father Scott Vanderveer here. I'd like to reflect just a little more on some related topics regarding the series that we just recently did on the topic of forgiveness. As a parish, together we read the book, Everybody Needs to Forgive Somebody. And part of the work that comes from realizing that we've got to free ourselves from past hurts by being able to forgive others is realizing the things that we've done that we need to make amends for. And how to do that is complicated. It's hard for us to know. How am I supposed to go back and change the past? If I've done something I'm not proud of, how can I fix it? And the real kick in the shorts is that we can't change the past. We know that. That's one of the reasons why we have to forgive. There's no way to go back and change the past. But it's also why we need to be able to apologize. Because we can't clean up our past misdeeds. We have to live with them and the effects of them as they are. But that's why we have this great gift called apologizing. It's a way that we can hurt less and soothe the people that we've hurt. It's meant to calm and soothe the people that we have hurt. And we'll find that it'll help us too. But the purpose of apologizing cannot be for us. It's got to be for the people who were hurt. Apologizing is not for us. And once we get that in our minds, we'll realize why it's so important that when we apologize, we ask the hurt party for nothing. With an apology, we're not asking for anything. We're not asking them to even forgive us. We're just trying to calm and soothe them. I learned so much from reading the book, Why Won't You Apologize? By the psychologist Harriet Lerner. She's very respected, has been in the field of psychology and higher ed for years. And her book on apologizing is amazing. It allows those of us who are human, which is all of us, who are trying to figure out, how do I do this hard thing? And for those of us who find apologizing very difficult, she explains what it is that probably caused us to have such a hard time with apologizing. I recommend her book, Why Won't You Apologize, very much. But before we go there, I'd like to point out the 3 things that an apology is meant to do. These are 3 really important gifts we give someone when we apologize to them. The first gift is we help them to let go of ruminating over the hurt. Have you ever been hurt by somebody and you just can't get, how could they do that to me? Especially if it's a big hurt. Especially if someone's decision led to your children's lives being altered or your financial situation being made much worse. Those things are so painful. If we apologize to someone, we give them the opportunity to perhaps stop ruminating about how badly we hurt them. The second thing an apology does is it can make a person feel more emotionally safe in their connection with you. If you made a joke that landed poorly and felt to them like an attack in front of people that whose opinion mattered to them, when we apologize for that, we reestablish, I was out of line. I acted outside of my values, and you do not need to start expecting that from me. I am not going to do that again. You are not unsafe in this relationship. I'm going to make sure through my actions that you never feel unsafe that way again. And the third thing that I love that Dr. Lerner says this, I think it's so helpful. The third thing is it validates their view of reality. When we say to them, I was wrong, it takes away the terrible feeling of, and they probably think they're right. They ruined my finances, or they hurt our children, or they did this or that. And they feel just fine about it. An apology says, no, I don't. I don't feel just fine about it. I feel terrible about it. And I am so sorry that I acted that way. I am not okay with the way that I acted. And I am so sorry for what I did. What a gift to give somebody, to validate their view of reality. So isn't that interesting? We help them let go of ruminating about these past things. We help them to feel emotionally safe with us, if that's possible and realistic. At the very least, feel emotionally safer than they did. And we validate that they're not crazy for feeling this way. I really did make a mistake, or I really did make a selfish choice. So here's the rules. If you feel convinced, no, I want to do that. I know exactly who I want to do that to. I know exactly what I need to apologize for. Here's a couple of rules that Dr. Lerner gives, and I just think these are fantastic. This is just the beginning of a much longer list. These things stood out to me, but perhaps they'll stand out to you as well. Reading the whole book will give you a little bit of a deeper sense of all this. The first one is, you never say but when you're apologizing. You never say, I know that I spoke harshly to you, but you really did agitate me when I was stressed out. There's no but. I know I spoke harshly to you, and I am so sorry. I should never do that. I care about you, and I treated you poorly. I am so sorry. That is a good apology. But saying but causes the person to feel, again, invalidated. There are no buts in an apology. Another one is, the apology should always focus on our actions. It can be vague to say, I just apologize for everything. Imagine we went through a bad divorce that followed years of unhappiness. And then I'm like, listen, for everything I did, for anything I did that I knew about or didn't know about, I'm sorry. That doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel like a satisfying apology. We need to be able to say, when on this date I did this, I was so out of line and I am so sorry. It focuses on our actions. Another thing that's really hard is when we apologize, we're only trying to calm and soothe the person that's been hurt. So if let's say that they're responsible for 47% of things, or maybe they're responsible for 61% of things according to us, that may be true. We're not focusing on them at all. We're focusing on our actions. So we never talk about anything but our part of it. That takes maturity. But you can see why it's necessary. As soon as that person hears you start to make your case again, they know that this is not a safe conversation anymore. No longer, they don't feel like they can talk and accept your apology or interact with your apology at all, because everything they say might be used against them later on. So it has to focus just on the part that we have. In a relationship, it's probably often true that it took two. Isn't that always the way? But we don't focus on that. We focus on our part only. And the last thing that really struck me in Dr. Lerner's book is that an apology doesn't ask for anything. I found that fascinating. With an apology, you don't ask for anything. You don't say, please forgive me, because that gives them a task to accomplish. You don't say, can we go to dinner tomorrow night and continue talking about this? You don't give them work to do. You don't force them to have more on their plate. You apologize and ask for nothing. Your only job is to calm and soothe them, to take some of the poison out of what happened. And in order to do that, we have to be able to let go of needing anything from that apology. So let us give thanks to God that we can apologize for past wrongs and calm and soothe, at least with our words and efforts, the hurt emotions of those we love. God bless you all.